A girl went to a wealthy family's home to apply for a housekeeper position. Unfortunately, her skirt suddenly split open. To hide her embarrassment, she quickly took off her jacket and tied it around her waist. At that moment, the master of the house walked over and warmly greeted her. Seeing how modest Louisa was, the wealthy lady immediately offered her a high salary of $500 per month and hired her. Louisa's job was to provide personal care for the lady's son, Will, who had been paralyzed for a long time. Will's deliberate difficulty made Louisa realize that this job might not be as easy as she had imagined, but she had no choice but to accept it because her whole family depended on her income. Louisa's father was unemployed, her mother was a housewife, and her sister had a child out of wedlock but still wanted to attend college. The family burden fell on her shoulders. The next day, Louisa went to work and learned from the doctor that apart from supervising Will taking his medicine, she didn't need to do anything else. To earn her high salary, Louisa decided to take her only responsibility seriously. After mentally preparing herself, she finally gathered the courage to approach Will. Louisa suggested taking Will out for a walk, but he immediately rejected the idea. Faced with his response, Louisa didn't know what to say. When she gathered the courage to try talking to Will again, she was directly interrupted. With her enthusiasm extinguished, Louisa could only awkwardly leave the room, but she didn't give up easily. Every day, she tried to appear before Will wearing various bright clothes. Since humble-pleasing didn't work, she chose to bravely be herself. At first, Will was just a bit surprised, but gradually, this unique sense of style made Will feel uncomfortable. Louisa didn't treat Will as a disabled person. Her reckless personality often caused various mistakes, but this also made Will's life less boring. He even began to look forward to her appearance every day, but Louisa couldn't sense these subtle changes, until one day, Will's ex-girlfriend and close friend came to visit him. The two hesitated before finally confessing something to Will. They had fallen in love with each other. Will appeared very calm on the surface, but inside he was suffering greatly. After they left, Louisa heard a noise from the room. She hurried over to check and saw that Will had broken the photo of himself and his ex-girlfriend. Being disabled, he couldn't even express anger freely, so how could he bring happiness to the woman he loved? After his injury, Will had cut off contact with his girlfriend because he didn't want his former love to see him in this condition. Louisa couldn't help but feel sympathy, but she could only vent to her boyfriend. However, her boyfriend clearly wasn't interested in her work and only thought about his cycling trip to Norway. So Louisa had to find her own solution. She pieced the broken frame back together, hoping to preserve that beautiful memory for Will. But this only made Will angrier. Louisa didn't understand why Will always kept people at a distance and armored himself with caustic words. Will surprisingly didn't argue back. Perhaps he realized the difficulties in Louisa's life. Will turned and left. From then on, Will's attitude changed. One day, he unexpectedly invited Louisa to watch a movie together. Several consecutive Hunger Games films captivated Louisa, while Will secretly observed her reactions from the side. When the end credits rolled, Louisa was still immersed in the movie world, unable to snap out of it. Louisa's reactions satisfied Will, and they began to discuss the plot. With a common topic, they became closer. Will's face began to shine with smiles again. With Louisa's companionship, he started to be willing to go outdoors. Everyone around was surprised by his change. Even the doctor said it had been a long time since he had seen Will smile so happily. Louisa felt a sense of achievement. But just when she was feeling confident about her job, Will developed a fever.